Ever since ThinkUp announced their lawsuit against Disruptive Products Inc. and Tastemakers, we've all been wondering what is next for Jerry Cummings and ThinkUp. Well, now we finally know, and you just might be surprised. That's right. ThinkUp has partnered up with former Arcade One Up employees and former New Wave Toys co-founders to form a brand new pinball company, Wonderland Amusements. That's right, not to be confused with Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, but apparently we have a new company formed by these home arcade entrepreneurs that will release their first mechanical pinball targeted for the home arcade market at the Pinball Expo 2024 here in just a few days. So for our next countdown to the Pinball Expo and things we are looking forward to seeing, playing, and getting our hands on, today we are talking about Wonderland Amusements. That's right, guys. As you can see here is the website, wonderlandamusements.com. You can go ahead and go out there and sign up if you want to be informed about all the news from this brand new company. Of course, ThinkUp, as you guys know, we've covered their lawsuits here on the channel. These are the guys that were responsible for creating the Arcade One Up brand and the original shark fin design. They also claim responsibility for the Infinity game table and Infinity game board from Arcade One Up. So Arcade One Up, Tastemakers, owes a lot of their success to this company and Jerry Cummings specifically. As I mentioned, we also have some founders here as we take a look at that group. Of course, there is Jerry Cummings. We also have Gary Monaco. We have Andreas Querez, who, and I butchered his name, I apologize to Andreas, but he worked at both Arcade One Up as R&D development and a co-founder of New Wave Toys. We have Peter Gould, another co-founder of New Wave Toys, and Adwood Tang, who is Tastemakers Asia division, former employee, 2018 to 2021, really going to be heading up the manufacturing side of this new pinball table. And you can imagine by the logo and the name of the company what their new pinball table might be. Of course, I have no information around this, but it seems pretty clear that what they are planning to unveil at the expo is a new Alice in Wonderland pinball. Now, this is an IP that anybody can do. It is, the copyright on it is long since expired. Of course, it is a Grimm's fairy tale, so anyone can do this table, which is exactly why you saw Dutch Pinball announce their version of Alice in Wonderland just a few days ago. And of course, we talked about that yesterday on the channel. So if you're interested in seeing that new table, take a look at that video. Of course, that table is limited to 500. It is a normal full-size pinball and is a pretty amazing pinball coming out. So one has to wonder, obviously, we first heard rumors of this machine from the Super Game Room dudes. It's been talked about on other YouTube channels that this company is targeting the home arcade market. So they're looking at something that is much lower cost than, say, a Stern home pin or one of these other, quote unquote, lower cost pinballs that still cost $5,000-$6,000. We are not going to get something that is of the scale of the Jurassic Park home pin available at Costco from Stern. You have to imagine, if they're targeting home arcade, they're looking at something at $1,500 or less. You have to imagine that They have stated it is not a V pin, that it is specifically going to be a mechanical pinball machine. So you have to wonder, honestly, it's probably, as I look at it, think about it, wish I have seen it, but as I look at this company and their website, I have to imagine that this pinball is going to be designed more like a traditional old school pin from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s even, where you have those distinct um, layouts with not a lot of gadgets, not a lot of toys, not a lot of ramps, just your traditional kind of classic pinball machine. Now, maybe they will surprise us all and somehow have figured out a way to develop a modern pinball at that low cost. But if I were a betting man, I'm betting this is more of those classic old school mechanical pins that have their place. They certainly have their collectors. There will be a ton of those old school pins at the Pinball Expo. So it may fit right in there and stand out for that very reason. If they go with that truly old school retro vibe on this table, it won't really have to compete with Alice's Adventures in Wonderland from Dutch. They have to, though, if they are indeed releasing an Alice in Wonderland table, which I suspect they are from the rumors that I've heard about them using a license-free IP. Going back into the vault to find something, Alice in Wonderland makes total sense, but you have to think they're super disappointed about Dutch Pinball's announcement right before they are about to debut their new product and their new company to the world at Pinball Expo. So I, for one, am interested to see what they come up with. Of course, we've mentioned I will be at the Pinball Expo along with tons of other home arcade channels. So it'll be interesting to see and hear from them exactly what they are coming out with and what their plan for this new product is. We can't forget ThinkUp, traditionally a toy design company, some of the things they've worked on. Of course, earlier this year, they announced Shuffle Golf through a Kickstarter. Some of these founders of this company helped push that Kickstarter, and yet they could never find the manufacturing to make it work. And again, that wasn't a product for me, but there seemed to be some interest in around that shuffleboard / golf game that they came up with. And even though the Kickstarter received full funding, they ended up having to cancel it because they couldn't actually produce it at the price that they promised. And so, are we going to see the same kind of thing? Did that actual product get canceled because they ended up forming this company around the same time and start talking about and working on this new venture, this new pinball company, and didn't want to devote resources and attention away from that with the shuffle golf? It is very interesting to see how in just a few short months that company has flipped from that Kickstarter to now joining together to form this Wonderland Amusements company. So I hope we find more information out at the expo. And again, I am really excited to get my hands on this and just see what a mechanical home arcade pinball looks like, uh, what they legitimately can get this price point down to. And I hope to bring you footage of that from the show. Of course, I have not spoken to this company at all. They don't have any arrangements to talk with them. Others do. So look for that content where you'll get it probably a little more in depth than what just say I can just walking around talking and taking a look at it. But it is something I am very excited to see, along with some of these other things we will be showing all week in our countdown to the Pinball Expo 2024, of course, the largest pinball expo in the country, and it's the big 40th anniversary. So you might as well click the like button since you made it all the way to the end. And don't forget to comment and subscribe. And as always, until next time, have fun.